So this is going to be section 3 of chapter 9. In this, we're going to discuss Alexander the Great, the rise and fall of the empire of Alexander the Great, and evaluate what makes someone to be considered great historically. So Philip II of Macedonia was Alexander the Great's father. He built this huge empire, but it would be nothing compared to what Alexander is going to do. After the death of Philip II, Alexander takes over. Within a year, Alexander had destroyed Thebes and enslaved the Theban people. Alexander the Great is a leader that was known as one of the greatest conquerors in history. And I want you to ask yourself as we go over this section, what makes someone great historically? Because his name's not Alexander the Great. That's the title that's given to him because of what he was able to achieve. So historically, what makes somebody great? Alexander was a brilliant military commander. He went to conquer Egypt, which is a part of Persia, but the Persian governor heard about him and surrendered without even a fight. This is the Persian governor in Egypt. We're not talking about some little small rinky-dink community. We're talking about Egypt. We've already discussed Egyptian history. The Egyptians were already a powerful empire at this time. They had been taken over by the Persians, and the leader of the Persians heard he was coming and said, dude, we got to surrender. Alexander the Great's coming. And so that shows what kind of name he had made for himself. He defeated the Persians for the last time in the town of Gaugamela, which made him over the entire Persian Empire. Still intent on building his empire, Alexander led his army through Central Asia. He wanted to push deeper into India, but exhausted his troops refused. In 323 BC, Alexander visited the city of Babylon, got sick, and died a few days later at the age of 33. So he wanted to continue going. He pushed his way through Central Asia. His troops were exhausted. He wanted to go on into India, but his troops were exhausted, so they came back. And they came back a different way. They didn't come back the way they came. They came back a different way. They were stopped in Babylon. He got sick and died of something. No one to this day knows what Alexander the Great died from. Some believe he was poisoned. Some developed he developed some kind of illness in Asia. Either way, he died at the age of 33. When Alexander died, he had no known heirs, so people fought over his kingdom. It was divided up into 3 parts by 3 of his generals. The 3 kingdoms were divided up into Macedonia, Syria, and Egypt. The kingdom of Macedonia was the most Greek of the 3, or the word Hellenistic comes up a lot. The kingdom of Macedonia was the most Hellenistic, or the most Greek-like. So it was divided up into 3 kingdoms. Like I said, I'm just kind of touching on this stuff briefly because of it being kind of combined. We're just trying to make sure we cover some of this stuff. Discussed the rise of Alexander the Great. His fall of Philip II of Macedonia brought him up to be this great leader. After his father died, he took over. He expanded the kingdom far beyond what his father did, taking over the entire Persian Empire. The fall of the Empire of Alexander the Great happened when he died. And if that would make someone to be considered great historically, what makes someone great historically, in my opinion, is the fact that they're able to push through all the odds and make a name for themselves. People knows who they are before they even show up. Kind of like when the Persian governor in Egypt just surrendered just by hearing he was on his way. To me, that's what historically makes someone great. Not a military leader. You can be great, people like Madame Curie, but someone that when you hear the name, you stop and think, that person has done some great things. So that brings us to the end of section 3.